Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Christian Science Rediscovered. And thank you that you're here, that you decided to join in this discovery. And it's great that we can continue this. Still, some of us are coming in. That's wonderful too. So today is the day of the creations of light. That's the title of the meeting, Creations of Light. And we will discover what it actually means. Like, what is light? What light are we talking about? It's like spiritual light, but what is that? Can you see that? What is it? So we're going to take a look at that idea. And we're going to say deeply, in fact, contemplate ideas of the release of the fantasies of sickness. Now that's something from a lesson of A Course in Miracles 137. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And I read that lesson again, and I had like, this is my favorite lesson. I love it. But the interesting part is that I remembered reading it at some point in time where I discovered, like, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. It's like, okay, that's an extra motivation to do that, to allow that to occur. And so that's an interesting idea. If you recognize yourself to be two, like two of you, like, okay, there's someone else too, then it makes sense. But if you recognize yourself as being one, then suddenly your motivation falls away, you could say. There's no necessity then anymore for making that a big deal, so to speak. It's like, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. Of course, because I am not alone. I am in complete communication with every aspect of creation. With every aspect of creation. It's like, that's huge. I communicate naturally with everything. Because that's part of creation. It's total. Creation is total. That's why it's whole and perfect. That is not separate parts. And so, reading then lesson 137, you come to this point where you actually see, I see that as a motivation to do the lesson extra well for my brother too. And that's very lovely. But it's only lovely to the idea of your discovery that there is only one. When you discover there's only one, like I said, that dissolves. So for now, we're still going to use that. You could also say, like, well, what needs to be healed? If it's whole and perfect, what needs to be healed? And then you got a point there. So what is this awakening? What is this healing process? What is this Christian science? What is this? What is there to be rediscovered? So Mary Baker will be with us today too, and she has two expressions that she wants to present to you, and they fit in really well with what we're actually going to discover. So let's get started first with the contemplation. The contemplation is from this lesson 137, and it's just 2 paragraphs, but they're very fundamental. Now, they're so fundamental and so deep, you could say, that I would love to come back to that later in the last half hour. So there are some expressions that I can share with you on the whiteboard, and you'll see. They all have to do with healing. There are so many expressions in this one lesson about. Welcome everyone, great that you're here. I'm so happy that you made it. So we continue now with the meditation, and we made a pre-fabricated video for that. And so listen carefully, because it's really great, and you can use it really as a contemplation. This is a bit of forework that we do for the last half hour, in which we're actually going to take a deeper look at it. I'll bring it back to the start, and there we go. Just as forgiveness shines away all sin, the real world will occupy the place of what you made. So healing must replace the fantasies of sickness, which you hold before the simple truth. When sickness has been seen to disappear in spite of all the laws which hold it, cannot but be real, then questions have been answered, and the laws can no longer be cherished nor obeyed. Healing is freedom, for it demonstrates that dreams will not prevail against the truth. Healing is shared, and by this attribute it proves that laws, unlike the ones which hold that sickness is inevitable, are more potent than their sickly opposites. Healing is strength, for by its gentle hand is weakness overcome, and minds which were walled off within a body, free to join with other minds, to be forever strong.
De même que le pardon par sa lumière dissipe tout péché et que le monde réel occupera la place de ce que tu as fait, de même, la guérison doit remplacer les fantasmes de maladie que tu tiens devant la simple vérité. Quand il a été vu que la maladie disparaît en dépit de toutes les lois qui soutiennent qu'elle ne peut être que réelle, alors les questions ont trouvé réponse et les lois ne peuvent plus être chéries ni observées. La guérison est liberté, car elle démontre que les rêves ne prévaudront pas contre la vérité. La guérison est partagée, et par cet attribut, elle prouve que des lois différentes de celles qui soutiennent que la maladie était inévitable sont plus puissantes que leur maladie opposée. La guérison est force, car par sa douce main, la faiblesse est vaincue, et des esprits qui étaient emmurés au-dedans d'un corps sont libres de se joindre à d'autres esprits pour être forts à jamais.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. So we enter into a beautiful silence, and see, that's great. That's where something can happen in you. You know, it's like that's the place where we actually meet in this silence. What is there to add to that? Huh? What is there really to add to that? So, what I will do, I will bring something in there, in this silence. Just it doesn't have to be disturbed by anything. So you take this silence with you. And that's lovely, you know, you take that with you wherever you go, because you don't have to lose that. It is within you. It's easily brought back into your awareness. You see that. So this is a healing procedure. You come back to your peace. It's happening here. It's happening now. And what is the necessity for it? In fact, just that you put down your ideas, leave your concerns, not considering anything, not being worried about anything. Just, in fact, stepping back and saying, like, okay, this is it. This is how peace looks right now. This is it. So that's really lovely. Now, continuing with where we're heading to in this, while we actually don't have a motive at all, like we don't want to reach anything except staying in our peace, Don't forget, it's like there's nothing to accomplish here. Don't worry, there's nothing to accomplish. Now we actually stay right here. Now we can bring in ideas, for instance, of Mary Baker, or we can bring in ideas of what is actually light. Now, what is light? Well, let's take a look at what is actually light. You can say, like in physics, you see light is electromagnetic energy. This is what we know. So we have a visual spectrum in which we can see those beautiful flowers, or can see the other person. But is that really light? Because is that person really there? And we know now, it's like, no, that's mesmerism. It's a dream. It's a dream-like structure, and it is not what it appears to be. Not as your brother what it appears to be, not are these flowers what they appear to be. Like, even though they are, like, they have a spark of light in them, they have a relationship with the universe, but we don't actually see them in how they are. Because if that would take place, then you would be in an experience of home, you could say. So today, in fact, we discover an idea of spiritual vision, of the spiritual eye. Like, how would the spiritual eye look at the flower? How would the spiritual eye look at the one, meeting the one that appears to be right in front of you? How would the spiritual eye see that? So these are interesting discoveries to be made. And so, starting with the very basics, let's take a look at a little physics class of 2 minutes, very popularized, made easy so I can understand it. And so I want to share that with you.
This is entire electromagnetic spectrum. And this is the portion of the spectrum that we can see. But what if our human eyes were not so pathetic and we could see the entire electromagnetic spectrum? Yes, there is probably no evolutionary advantage to that, but still, what's wrong with imagining, right? What if we could see it all? Radio waves, microwaves, all them waves. Let's see what your vision will be like if you can see the entire spectrum. So let's start slow with complete blindness onto the full spectrum. You might have noticed that after expanding beyond our visual spectrum, we are representing the infrared waves and the ultraviolet waves using the colors that your brain can already process, which are some combinations of RGB, red, green, blue. If your current brain had to see the entire spectrum, then this is how it would see it, because it cannot process other electromagnetic waves. That's what the devices that help us see ultraviolet waves and infrared waves do, process the waves into the colors that our brains can already see. So seeing the entire spectrum will just become very overwhelming for your brain. One workaround can be eye having the ability to focus itself to different ranges in the spectrum, just like it can focus different distances, so it can see only a small range of electromagnetic waves at a time. Obviously, the other workaround would be to add more cones to the human eye, which could help us detect more colors and simultaneously increase the ability of the human brain to process all those new colors. But frankly speaking, I don't have much hope for the human brain. Our brain is programmed to work in the most energy efficient way and not necessarily perceive the reality as it is. And perceiving the entire electromagnetic wave spectrum is not necessary for our survival at all. So our perception is restricted to a very small range of reality. Just imagine what else is out there beyond our perception that our brain doesn't even get a whiff of, and we just assume that we are experiencing the true reality.
Okay, that was quite a Hindi accent, but I liked the little movies. So first you see, like, this is the visual spectrum. It's like it's almost nothing, and then there's the gigantic spectrum of all electromagnetic light. So this is all light. Now this is good to know. Like, this is just a little bit to expand your idea about it. Like, there's a whole range out there, and we as human beings, we only see the visual part because we only use that for survival, as the video said too. It's like that we only use that for survival, and it's sufficient for survival. I hope so. So it is, and of course it's not true, but that's another discussion. So here we go. This was the physics class. We continue on with two expressions of Mary Baker, and they are related to this. I'll show it to you. I just want to I really love to share this with you. Creation perfect. When will error of believing that there is life in matter and that sin, sickness and death are creations of God be unmasked? When will that happen? When will it be understood that matter has neither intelligence, life, nor sensation, and that the opposite belief is the prolific source of all suffering? God created all through mind and made all perfect and eternal. Where then is the necessity for recreation or procreation? Where is the necessity for that? He created everything perfect and eternal. Now what needs to be added to that? Or what could you possibly need? What you think you need? So this is a very fundamental question. A couple of questions that Mary Baker's giving to us. So when will that change? When will it be understood that matter doesn't have intelligence? Where is the necessity for recreation and procreation? Okay, so one more. Ignorant idolatry. Mortal mind is ignorant of self, or it would never be self-deceived. If mortal mind knew how to be better, it would be better. Since it must believe in something besides itself, it enthrones matter as a deity. It makes like a god out of it. The human mind has been an idolater from the beginning, having other gods and believing in more than the one mind. As mortals do not comprehend even mortal existence, how ignorant must they be of the all-knowing mind and of his creations? Now, the first thing that you discover when you hear this is how reasonable it is what she says. It's like, yeah, why is that actually? Why does everyone do that? And of course it begins here. So when will that change? When will all this change? Like, when will I stop believing that matter has intelligence, that a body can be sick by itself, that who knows what? You know, it's like, but to keep it focused on, for instance, the body, because that's such an interesting subject for us. It's like, when do you give up the idea that it has no intelligence of its own? It does not have a mind of its own. It does not have that. So that is being confirmed as well as in the Course in Miracles, as Joel says it many times too. Like, that is not the case. And you cannot stop believing it. Why? Well, this has to do with the visual impulse that you get, the visual proof that you get of what you see. When you perceive something, that is your reality. Whether you say like, well, no, that's mesmerism, you already saw it, and you actually believe that it is something. Because you wake up in the middle of the night being concerned with, oh my God, I hope everything is all right. You know, this is, you can say 100 times, 1,000 times that it's mesmerism. That's not going to change your experience of it. So it is like, you can't help yourself, literally, you cannot help yourself believing what you see. That's simply impossible. So give up the attempts to do so. Don't fool yourself in thinking that you can do this on a mental plane, that you can literally change yourself by, in fact, convincing yourself. By your activity of mind, you cannot bring it about. Because you don't have to either. And why is that? Well, if you understand the nature of error, or the nature of why this is occurring, if you get to that a little bit, then it becomes very clear why that would never work. And what is that? This is the last thing you're going to admit, but you can question the reality of your existence. If you question the reality of your existence, then you come closer to the new experience that is the light in you, the Christ vision, the Christ experience. But you will first have to admit the unreality of the way that you have defined yourself. And we know this, but still in the practice of it, you keep looking for confirmation in your sickness, in your physicality, recognizing yourself as this body, dealing with it, being worried about it. What do you think that is? That is an investment in that. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to do that. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with reality. And this is what we... see, this is the interesting part is in fact the paradox in the story, because you want to get out of that, but you do everything you can not to get out of it, by thinking that you have a specific role to get out of it. You want, even in your awakening, to be special. You want to in fact to have a special role in this whole story. If you wouldn't want that, you would easily step back and let it all go. No, you have an investment in who you are. You want to still save your face in order to, in fact, to die. You want to save your face. You're still concerned about what the so-called others will think about you, or this kind of thing. Or you want to prove to God that you're really good and that you deserve healing now. Something like this. So you're still in an exchange with something that does not exist. Now this is the depth of insanity that we're dealing with. In fact, that you are dealing with too. It's like... So, in other words, so this is the healing part in the whole story is, if I admit, like, I cannot do this by myself whatsoever, like, no, I'm just a thing in the way. I just need to get out of the way with my ideas about myself. I need literally something from outside my cocoon, outside of my cocoon of ideas about myself, to come, in fact, to bring me a new experience. Like, it doesn't need to be repaired. No, you need a whole new experience. It's a birth, it's a rebirth, it's a resurrection. You don't need a repaired body. No, you need a whole new experience of yourself. One that is truly you, as a complete replacement of what you think you are. And when I say complete replacement, it is like the replacement is a totality of being. It has nothing to do with the separate thing you think you are. So that is in fact the first step. But since we talk about this a lot, it is like the only thing that will come to convince you of that is a new experience, is moments in which you are lifted out of this. It's like the miracle, the holy instant of the communion with your Creator. It's like these little moments in which you catch a glimpse of light, even for a nanosecond, would be enough to convince you, yes, there is a God. There is a God. I can't believe it. There is a God. Now that will convince you. Like words will never do it. You can come to classes for 100,000 years and it will not change. Now it is up to you to ask for the experience. And yes, you can do that now. And there's no reason to delay that. You have sufficient experience in this world. You know all about it. You have seen it all. Otherwise you would not be here to listen to this. You have seen it all, so it's time to actually ask for what you need, a recognition or a moment of an experience of communication with your Creator, recognizing that that's the only thing that is real about you. You in communion with God, you with communion with your source. So that's where the healing takes place, and that's so we're going to bring in some healing principles, miracle principles, because they're so revealing. And so it's like the whole, we've been cleaning up a lot, but here it is. It's like the whole timeline idea that you have, this sequentiality of everything, the way you organize your thoughts, all that can go. Release it. You don't need it. You really don't need it. And if you release it, there's space in your consciousness for something else. All your concerns and considerations about everyone, all the relationships, all of that, all these considerations you don't need. All of this you use, in fact, to place yourself in a time-space continuum where you will literally only see this electromagnetic energy and thinking that it's you, thinking that that defines you, while there's a whole huge spectrum out there that is part of life, that is the universe itself. It's like that. So you limit yourself to this little spectrum, this little part where you think everything already is and where you can continue forever reproducing yourself and getting old and sick and die. You know, this needs to go. This whole idea is done, is over. It did go. It is over. It becomes so obvious when you let go of it. And to give you an example, somebody asked me today, it's like, well, what did you do? What's going on? What did you do? And then it's like, nothing. I really don't have a life. I really don't have a life. No, the life that I've lived, that I live, is gone. It's over. Like it's on a continuing basis, it is over. I simply don't have anything to tell you in that sense. I don't have anything to tell you because I recognize it's over, it's over, it's over, it's over, and it's over, and it's over, and it's over. And there's nothing left of it. It's gone, it's over, it's over. So my mind empties out just beautifully nice in order to receive light and love and feel my connectedness with creation. Like that is the occurrence. That's the only occurrence. What can I tell you about it? I include you completely in. So great. But this is a bit like that. It's like, no, finally you're free of all the concerns. Isn't that what you wanted? You want to be free of your concerns. You want to be free of any kind of limitation. Well, so here's the thing. It's like, in fact, you discover what I'm reading, what is in this book, what Mary Baker's telling me, all these questions she asks. Why not answer it? Yeah, why not now? Like, I want this new experience right now. So it is with the miracle principles. It actually means what it says. It is not just a book that's nice to read. No, it means what it says. It's ready for you to be completely accepted because it tells you something about you, the real you that you are. And it tells you how to get out of the dream that you experience yourself to be in, with all its limitations and all its specificness. So that is the offering continuously. Like I'm not saying much news in that sense. Like it's always the same story. If you find yourself in a dream of limitation and you want to get out, you can. Follow instructions. Listen to what it says. It actually means what it says. Follow the instructions and you will be taken out of this. Oh yeah, here's one Bible piece that I wanted to put into because it has everything to do with light. The lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, if your eye shall be sound, your whole body also will be illuminated. But if your eye shall be bad, your entire body will be darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great will be your darkness? This is from the Aramaic Plain English Bible. So the lamp of the body is the eye. And I like the idea of the lamp of the body is the eye because it is like literally projecting outward. Your eyes are actually projecting. They're not receiving information about what you see. No, you actually put an idea out there. And then you bring it back. So if your eye is single, like with the spiritual eye, you don't see differences, but you say, look at it in a totally different, in totality instead of in fractions, then your body will also be illuminated. Your body will be full of light, as the KJV said, the King James Version. When your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. Now this makes perfect sense if you're in the experience of it. So in other words, if I for one moment release my ideas about who I think I am and allow a new vibration, you could say a new segment of light to come into my awareness, then I can literally see in totality. Like I can see in totality. My third eye it's not necessary to see it like that, because it is like, no, this whole body thing we need to get rid of. This whole body thing, I don't want to place anything on the body, because where's my spiritual eye when I close my eyes? Well, it's right here. I can see that and I look with that. Great. But is it located on my body? No, it's not. Okay. So that's gone. So if I'm not material, if this body is not material, if I am not material, this body seems to be that way. But if my eye is single, my body is full of light, what is there to die? What can possibly die? Light cannot die. Like literally, you cannot stop light or anything. You cannot destroy light. No, it's impossible. You cannot destroy it. That's an interesting fact. You cannot date it either. You cannot give it a date, like, oh, this light is 100,000 years old. No, you can't do that. There's nothing there to date, to give it a space and time reference. You can't. So this is all about you, not to build up lots of new ideas about your new self, because that's not necessary. Your new self is an experience, as we say. Here is the term creations of light, and I wanted to introduce this miracle principle. And it starts with this: you are a miracle. God creates only that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. Man is capable of this kind of creation too, being in the image and likeness of his own creator. Anything else is only his own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. Now the creations of light, to give that a little bit of words, you could say, creations of light is in fact coming into the co-creation with your creator. Now, what does the creator create? Since it is the source of love, what does it create? Love. Right? It extends love. It expands love. It is what love is. Just like you. It is. You are what love is. Despite your own definitions, you are what love is. There cannot be something else. There is a totality of love. A totality of love. So only creations of light are real. And that's a very happy thought, you could say. It's an incredibly happy thought. Creations of light. And they are real, not your nightmare. The nightmares are of your own making. And that's like a misperception, nothing else but that. It's a mistake to think there can be something else but love. And it's not that you have to now correct your mind continuously. It's like, no, this does not exist. There's only light. No, that's not it either. Miracles praise God through men. They praise God by honoring His creations, affirming their perfection. They heal because they deny body identification and affirm soul identification. By perceiving the spirit, they adjust the levels and see them in proper alignment. This places the spirit at the center, where souls can communicate directly. Miracles praise God through men. So then it's like, okay, miracles praise God through men. So you are a miracle. So this is what it says. You are a miracle. So you are that which praises God. You are that. You are a creation of light. You're not something else too. No, you're a creation of light. And you want to experience that. Now, that's a matter of allowing that, asking for it, receiving it, and letting go of what you think you are. Not trusting your perception, not in any kind of way trusting your perception of yourself, not trusting any idea you hold about yourself, or how you define yourself. So it's like, actually you start to use the power of your mind in doing so. Because recognizing I'm a creation of light, I cannot be anything else. I stay in my vigilance of that. Like I stay in the vigilance of, no, I'm a creation of light. That's the only reality about me. Now here I have a possibility to sink deeply into that experience by allowing that to completely touch me, completely overwhelm me. Like creations of light are real. I am that. I am that. Now I want to go deeply into that experience. I want to discover what that means. And I'm going for it. Like I'm not holding myself back to deeply dive into that. So this is what we're going to practice a little bit in the last half hour of this meeting. But this is like, it has all to do. Are you letting this in? Are you actually letting this deeply, 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 deeply into your own experience by recognizing that it actually is all about you, that this, what is being offered, is coming from your own source within. And that would be a reason to celebrate in the first place. And like it's not just an idea, it's not just a concept. No, this asks for you to stand still and have this as your own experience, not being afraid to completely go into it, allowing that to be eternal, to be infinite, so deeply into it that you don't know where you are, who you are, and having no concerns about it either. This is in fact the offering. So God's creations cannot lose their holiness, although it can be hidden. The miracle uncovers it and brings it into the light where it belongs. Holiness can never be really hidden in darkness, but man can deceive him on this point. Like holiness can never really be hidden in darkness. This illusion makes him fearful. To think you can, the illusion makes him fearful. Because in his heart he knows it is an illusion. That's why you're afraid. Not because you're afraid of the illusion. No, the illusion makes him fearful because in his heart he knows it is an illusion. So this is a matter of total honesty to yourself. Like all illusions, he exerts enormous efforts to establish their validity. Like all illusions, look at this, like all illusions, he exerts enormous effort to establish their validity. You want your illusions to be true. You want your illusions to be true. That's why they are real and true for you. You don't want to get rid of them. The miracle sets validity where it belongs. Eternal validity belongs only to the soul. The miracle acknowledges only the truth. It thus dispels man's illusions about himself and puts him into communion with himself and with God. So that's so lovely. So this one is huge, huh? This is huge. So it's like it is so sharply cut. If you read every sentence and just stay with it for just a second, it's like, apparently I don't even want that to happen. Now, I can be concerned that it doesn't happen, but why is it not happening? Because I don't want it to happen. I actually want to hold on to my illusions about myself, because I'm identified with my illusion, I'm identified with my body, identified with the ails and pains of the body. Like it gives me something to do, or it has some kind of value for me. I don't even know what it is, but it seems to work that way. I don't want to be free of that. That's why I'm still in it. Now, I have to admit that to myself. Huh? I have to admit that's a bit of an insane idea I carry around and make true for myself. I put enormous effort in it to establish that idea about myself and really thinking that that's valuable to me. That's why it's occurring. Now, to admit that to yourself is a very important part, because you have to admit that that's an insane idea. If God created everything perfect and whole, this is a really sick idea, you could say. In other words, you need help. Not that you have to try to think other thoughts or make it work to have a different vision about it made by your own and a little bit of God, something like this. Like, no, this is your. So this brings you closer to to greater receptivity of literally like God starting to directly communicate with you because you're open to receive it. You have to come to the place where you actually admit this. My God, all these ideas I hold about myself, look at what happens. And I still am holding on to them. Why? There's no reason for it. I need help here. So then it can come to you. It's like it really has to, mostly, for most of it is like it has to be put on a real kind of a pivot point height. It's like, okay, it can turn now. I literally come to the place where I don't want any of it. I don't want to hold on to this on such a deep level inside yourself that you feel that with your whole being. Now something can change. Suddenly your consciousness is open to have a different experience. Will the miracle happen? The miracle did happen. The miracle did totally happen. The miracle happened all the time. So that is successful, always. In you asking for help, you will receive that. Are you ready to receive that now? I can tell. You can experience it. If it isn't received right now, it is still with you. You will receive it. Like you have your storehouse full of it, for sure. Full of miracles, full of releases from this nightmare. So it's getting, in that sense, really down to it, really down to truth. Like you cannot fool yourself any longer. And that's why you're here. Okay, so here's the spiritual eye. The spiritual eye is the mechanism of miracles, because what the spiritual eye perceives is truth. The spiritual eye perceives both the creations of God and the creations of man. Among the creations of man, it can also separate the true from the false by its ability to perceive totally rather than selectively. It thus becomes the proper instrument for reality testing, which always involves the necessary distinction between true and the false. Now you know this too, so it's not far away from you. Don't push it away. It's like, no, bring it in. The spiritual eye is right there with you. And how does it distinguish between true and false? This is really great. It's like, how does it distinguish between really the difference between real and false? It does that by your experience. You find yourself in the middle of a conflict or a contraction or a pain or a difficulty or a concern so intensely. That is, you know that you are, say, running after something that has no reality. If you admit that and give that up, let that go, then you can, say, enter into a different experience of yourself. Suddenly there's, you can breathe. You see that, oh, what was I running after? I'm so happy I let this go. There follows a relaxation. There follows a sense of peace that wasn't there before. What did I discover? The truth. The truth tells me, it's like, there's absolutely nothing going on. All your concerns were just imagined and they have no real effect. So it's like choosing for the peace experience is really letting go of your ideas, entering into a place where we just entered into after the meditation too. You could see it's like, well, here we are. It's totally quiet. It is so still. What happened? And then I started with, okay, now I can bring something into this. And now here we go back. And we enter into the same space. Quiet, stillness, peace, restfulness, stillness, listening. It's like, it's totally quiet, totally still. Nothing is occurring. What can possibly occur except the beautiful communication that's given us? The beautiful communication between my source and me, in my love for my brothers, in total inclusion of everything, but not, say, distinguishing, not selectively looking at it. No, a total inclusion. It's like, it is either true or it is not true. When it's true, it will bring me peace and happiness. When it is false, I find myself in conflict and I feel separated. I feel that I'm all doing this by myself. I'm basically overwhelmed by my depressive feelings. That's not it. I have to let go. I have to give up. I'm thinking insane ideas. Now it's time to ask for help. Show me what to do, where to go, who to see, and I need help. That would be sufficient. I need help.
You're dreaming. This is not real. This is not so. And I understand that the perceptual mind will attack this idea as it has always attacked the idea of wholeness in its determination to assert itself and continue to obliviate itself. You can't die. Let's start with that and then watch the miracle as it occurs more and more in this reference of Master Jesus out of body and out of time. Use the Course in Miracles. And we are evolving the advanced teachers, out-of-time teachers that will assist you with this if you need it, and you are going to become one in affiliation with this message, I assure you, or you wouldn't be hearing this message. This then is the circle of atonement. And your admission of it is what salvation is. How very lovely. We hope we see you soon. We'll be back. We're back for just a moment. Those of you now who are changing your minds are causing dramatic changes in the fabric of mind. Master Jesus would say, much more than you could ever dream of. You have no idea of the power of your mind in the individual thoughts that you are having. Indeed, since you can only have one thought at a time, as you put the energy of light into these thoughts, they are causing incredible reconfigurations within the fabric of this time association. Can you get a feel for this? Huh? This is the fun part of your declaration of no death. You are faced with yourself in every situation that arises. And I know this can make you a little fearful. And I know what I'm saying for some of you can be very fearful, because it's a confrontation with the admission that you are the constructor of the death and chaos that you see about you. It's a difficult admission. It's the addressing of the defiled altar, as we would teach it in the Course in Miracles. Okay. It's the parting of the veil. It's the last 6 pages of chapter 19 in the text, when you're asked to open the memory patterns of your memory thoughts and look at the things that are really going on around you. And you would immediately work the miracle of the relinquishment of it if you saw that you're the cause of it. The horrendous association would be impossible. We want you to know that there is happiness and joy and ecstasy and sharing of light going on all around you, and that you individually, in your sleep, in your determination to construct nothingness in your mind, are not seeing it. These little glimpses that you're getting as these shifts occur are what the miracle is. But it must happen to you. Master Jesus, again, your sole responsibility, okay, is to change your mind about yourself. Is your at-one-ment. Do you have that? It'll work automatically, teacher, if you'll do it yourself. You listen to me. You come and share this new reality, this forgiveness of the grievance of self-constructed death. You'll come into a whole new scenario of reality. Jesus calls it a lovely, true dream, where we stay just for a moment and then step out of time together in the admission of our single source and our love for each other. Thank you, teachers of God. He is risen. You are risen indeed.
So in the class we continue with a group activity in which we pick one of the expressions about healing, and then you're actually going to give that to one another. So here it is. You can do this by yourself too. So you see now, say, 2 lists of expressions. So go through them and see which one resonates with you. And you pick that one for yourself and sit with it for a moment. Then you can give that to whoever is around you or whoever's in your mind, where you think about, and you give this as a creation of light, you could say. So that's a really lovely exercise, and thank you so much for doing that. And if you feel like it, you can send it to me, and so ebhub@gmail.com. You're always welcome to send me your recording or your favorite expression or any comment. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much.